forget, you can hear the full-length, longer version wherever you get your podcasts. If you just joined us, Maisie, Adam and I are talking essentially about me. And so as you can imagine, I'm finding it very difficult to actually get started. But start we must. And all this Rob chat, as it's known, this Rob talk, it has to stop, Maisie, please.
Yeah, sorry. I just keep coming with the questions.
I'm sorry for being fascinating, but there's nothing I can do about it. Welcome.
Thank you, Rob.
We've spent very little time together. Very little.
Very little.
Would I lie to you?
That how long ago was that now? I think
no idea.
Yeah. I mean, how many do you think you've done?
Well, we've done, I think, 19 series. I didn't do the first 2 series because they were Angus Deaton. I came on as the host after him.
I forgot that.
But have we done 100 or 200 episodes, something like that?
That's a lot of faces and a lot of people.
It is,
and
isn't
lot of sometimes not true anecdotes. So
sometimes they do lie. So when in your view did you break through then? When did you become? Because I remember I didn't know of Maisie Adam.
Yeah.
And then, Maisie Adam, yeah, she's around. She's someone. We see her on things.
I think it's a good question, Rob. I think Mock the Week had a lot to do with it.
Oh, you're one of the Mock the Week.
Yeah.
It was that took you to a big audience.
Rest in peace. But that did definitely help break me through because it was very like once you got 1 or 2 and they had you back.
Yeah.
They then, you'd become almost like a semi-regular. So that was definitely, there was a bit where I was doing comedy on the circuit, but no one would know who I was. I probably wouldn't be able to sell a tour.
Right.
And then once Mock the Week, I think I'd done, 3 or 4 series and been regularly on it. And it's still what a lot of people know me from and book tickets from. There was definitely a sense of a shift happening, just with things like people spotting you or
but you've got a very distinct look, though.
Well, yeah, that is true.
In terms of being memorable.
Yes.
You're so individual, aren't you? Which is great.
It is handy.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's a great thing to have that look.
I remember like when I started out, I'd always try and wear like a loud shirt. When you start and you think all these things make a really big difference. But it did. You used to be on a lineup with like 10 other comedians and no one would ever bother to remember your name. So I always remember thinking, well, if they could go, the girl in the stripy shirt.
Oh, you made a conscious decision. That's very smart.
So I did. I used to do it with like what I wore. And then with the hair thing, I always wanted to do a bit of a mad haircut, but never really was brave enough because I had so much stuff in the diary. I was like, but what if I don't like it? And then COVID happened and I was like, well.
So is that how the haircut came into being?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, I was always into kind of like, I was always into that sort of scar mod kind of subculture. And then when COVID happened and it really was like, okay, all your work's out your diary, nobody's allowed to leave the house. I was like, I'll just do it now because if I don't like it, no one's going to know because we have to stay inside anyway.
Don't take this the wrong way. Did you do it yourself?
Yes, I did. If that wasn't apparent, Rob.
Okay.
I don't know. Did it. Mike did it. I was like, let's just do it. And
what was it then? So you say, let's just do it. Okay, darling.
Just shave the back of my head. That was the main instruction. Don't go past here. Just do the back. And then I loved it. But people do take the mick about it now. I don't have the same haircut anymore. But it's still
distinctive. It's still distinctive.
But it's it did me wonders for being, for people to clock and stick in producers' minds.
Tell me about the road to success in terms of the gigs that went badly for you. Did you have many of those?
Yes, I did my first ever like corporate was a Christmas party for a law firm.
Yeah.
In one of those fancy buildings near like Temple in London.
Yes.
And
are you on a stage or just?
God, no stage.
Have you got a microphone?
Yes, but I don't know if that helped or hindered. But they were having dinner on these 2 long tables, right? 2 long tables in this big grand hall.
I'm getting tense as you just set up for it.
And I had to stand outside the hall listening for the CEO to introduce me. And he tapped his glass and everybody shushed and he stood up and he said, I think we could agree it's been a wonderful year for the firm, but, we have lost some people along the way. So he just then listed the clients that they'd had that had died that year and then was like, but anyway, less about that. Moving on, we've got some entertainment. I don't know if she's any good yet because she doesn't have a Wikipedia, so I've not been able to look her up. But Maisie Adam, and that was the intro.
Oh.
Not like, here's Maisie Adam, but Maisie Adam. So I walked out and started doing my set, and I was booked for a 20, Rob, and I swear I got through what was normally 20 minutes, and I glanced down at my watch, and I was on 7. And it hadn't got any laughs yet. It was just silence.
That's the worst. Silence is the worst.
You'd much rather have rowdy, raucous, disruptive even, but stone cold silence.
So what did you do?
I just ploughed on. I ploughed on, did every bit of material I had. It started to get sort of what felt like pity laughs. It started to get laughs from just the kind of supportive looking women in there, the receptionist and the but all the lawyers were these older men who were just sort of checking their phones under the table.
But the great thing is that everybody has had bad corporates. Doesn't matter who you are. I've spoken to huge names who told me stories about when they just died.
They can be brutal, can't they? They
can go well though.
Oh,
they can be good. They can be good. And depending on the industry, of course, you know.
That's what always shocks me is you get these ones in your diary and you'll be like, oh, that's going to be hard work. And that, like, I had the personal injury awards the other month. I had the gig of my life, Rob. Who'd have thought? The personal injury awards. It was like Madison Square Garden for me. It was, it's so weird. But, you'd have that in your diary going, that's going to be a tough one.
And what's the deal with football?
What's the deal with football in general?
No, with you. And football's a big thing for you.
Yeah, I love it, Rob. And I've always been around it. But
always been around it and just enjoyed it, or have you got people in the family?
My family are all Leeds fans, and I grew up going to Leeds games, and I grew up watching football and playing it. But it was always, when you're watching it as a kid, it was always men.
Yeah.
And I think now what's so great is I was chatting earlier with somebody about in 2015 when I was at uni, it was the Women's World Cup in Canada, and I remember clocking what a moment it was to be seeing England women on the normal terrestrial channels, and that felt really special because I knew of these names because my football coach when I was a kid used to sort of reference them, but you didn't really see them in the way that you'd see Beckham and Rooney and Lampard. So it was really it felt like a real moment. That was the one with Jill Scott, actually, and Alex Scott would have been in that team, and Karen Carney. So it was really exciting. And then, of course, we had the Euros, and that feels like it's really just changed everything for the women's game. And I love it, Rob, because it's got the exact same. I don't like this misconception sometimes with women's football that it's a politer kind of game or anything, or a softer game. It's got all the same tenacity, all the same competitive. It's still just as thrilling.
Did you play in that Soccer Aid match?
Yes. In fact, I played the day after my wedding.
That's right. I'm aware of this. Yes.
Yeah. So
you are devoted to football.
Mad. I just want to be around my football heroes. It was really just that.
So that was an incredible opportunity then for you. Yeah.
I was really trying hard to keep my cool on those days. Yeah, because you go for like 3 days training where you all stay at the you'd like it, Rob, Champneys. You must have gone there.
Never been there.
Oh, you've got to go. You've got to go.
Never been.
But so you spend like 3 days at this very fancy spa hotel, and then the game's on the Sunday. But yeah, trying to sort of keep your cool whilst you go, they'd be like, in between the training sessions, they go, right, it's lunchtime. And you go to the buffet in this big restaurant in the spa, and you're queuing behind Alessandra Del Piero with Roberto Carlos behind you, and then you go and sit with Usain Bolt. It's really mad. It's really,
and
really
Lee
strange.
Mack.
And Lee Mack, of course, football royalty.
Well, he scored.
He, honestly, his when he walks into that room, the footballers,
Mm.
he is a hero because that goal was so anticipated for so long for Lee that when he got it, it felt like that clip of Beckham when he scored from outside the box. It was so special for everyone.
But he's like you. He just loves football.
Yeah.
And to hang out with those people, I think it's the highlight of his year.
Yeah, it's really special. It's really, how many people can get to say that they have played football with the people they've grown up watching? It's really, really cool. And it's always a very nice vibe. Apparently, like back in the day, it used to be a little bit too competitive, but I've done two and they've both been delightful.
I've heard I've heard a few stories.
And it's never from the footballers, is it?
No.
It's from the...
that's right, yes.
Yeah, it's from the
some
non-pros.
Of the showbiz lot take it a little bit too seriously.
I think there's a little bit of that I could have gone pro vibes. Yeah, but I had a knee injury.
I won't name any, but I do know some names.
Yes.
And of course, it was obviously Lee that told me about it, but it's not him.
No,
he has a sense of humor.
It was Lee that told me about it as well.
Yeah. He delights in telling me.
If you want to know the names, ask Lee Mack.
Yeah,
he'll tell you.
Just see Lee. Did I ask you? So how good were you? You were never good enough to.
No. It was never on the cards for me to be pursuing it. But I just really, really loved it. And
does your husband love it?
So he didn't, and then when we met, I got him into it.
Really?
And he's now. When I'm away on tour, he'll be going, "Oh, did you see that goal?"
Seriously?
Yeah. It's mad. He tried to get me into F1, and I got him into football, and I can't do it. Oh, it's so boring. I'm sorry if anybody likes F1, but
very noisy.
It's noisy, but it's also, I like about football the fact that these sometimes, some of the best players, if you think about it, of Ronaldo or Messi or Rooney, they've come, not from money. They've come from talent being spotted
now, is
and
that
nurtured.
I don't know much about F1. Are they privileged guys that get to drive the cars?
There's a lot of people who end up on the grid because their dad owns the team.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think also it's a really expensive sport to pursue.
Yes.
So I don't think, Rooney growing up in Croxteth, I think it's probably easier to everybody around you plays football.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't know anybody.
When I was growing up, I mean, everyone was riding, their own go-kart around the grounds, or perhaps
I didn't grow up knowing anybody who was karting at the weekend,
so
but I grew up knowing a lot of people who played
was always around, me and my friends. So it sort of seemed inevitable that I would go professional.
My father was a karter. His father was a karter.
His father before him was a karter. So in a way, it was almost sort of preordained. Tell me the name of the tour.
Appraisal.
Appraisal. Why have you called it that?
So I figured, Rob, I figured that with any other job, so I've been lucky enough to be a professional stand-up now for 5 years, i.e. not doing any of those other jobs you do when you're coming up through the circuit.
Which were for you? What were the other jobs for you?
I worked in retail, I worked in pubs, I did litter picking, I worked in an ice cream van. I did anything that kept me afloat.
Yes.
But I figured with any other job, you do get a sort of 5-year appraisal.
Oh, I see.
And then I thought, well, actually, we kind of do get that in our industry, in that every gig is an appraisal.
Absolutely.
Because you have that thing we were alluding to earlier of you have people sat across from you, letting you know in real time how you're doing.
Yeah.
And that is an appraisal, really. So every gig is an appraisal of sorts. So I figured that would be a good... I like one word titles for a show. I quite like that. It's nice and snappy, but appraisal felt right with where I'm at in terms of I'm checking in and with how it's going, with how I think I'm doing. With you said then, do you plan? I don't really have a 5-year plan ahead of where I'm going.
Well, not a plan, but things that you would like to do, or you just.
I think this job is so, you'll know this more than me, but it changes so much, right? It follows trends and directions that media is going into, that I think what could be your 5-year plan will change within 1 year. But I think just bigger gigs then, just more bigger
people.
Gigs, growing an audience.
Yeah.
I'd like to kind of blend the football and comedy together somehow. I think there's a lot of Well, I think there's a lot of punditry and there's a lot of post-match analysis from former players. But how, like in the men's game, you sometimes get some decent comedy overlapping with it. You know, I think we can maybe get that with the women's game to kind of make it more accessible for everybody. You know, I don't think everybody wants the technical analysis.
Well,
Sometimes
you would
do
be
want
the
a bit
perfect person for that.
Yes, I think so. But if you think like,
Yes.
you know, we have things like a league of their own.
Yeah,
And I think if we can
fantasy football and stuff like that.
I think there's ways of approaching sport from a comedic angle. The women's game could definitely benefit from.
Have you got an idea for such a program?
Maybe. I don't know. But I don't know if but this is it. I don't know if that would be
Yes, I think she's got it.
But I don't know if that would be a TV program anymore. I don't know if that would maybe become an online series or a pod. I don't know, you know.
What you're saying to me is TV is yesterday, Grandad. I think that's what you're saying.
I didn't say that. I had a moment 2 months ago where I got about 10 texts in about 2 minutes, all from comedians going, "Have you heard Richard Osman on his podcast talking about you?"
Oh,
And I was
what
like,
did
"Oh
he
God,
say?
no." He said that I was the sort of last one to kind of make it through being on TV because he reckons.
Oh, yeah.
And listen,
well, he could be. He knows a lot of stuff.
Osman's got his finger on the pulse, hasn't he?
I tell you what, he's serious. He has.
So
I tell you what, he hasn't got his finger on.
what?
His diary.
Oh, really?
About 2 months ago,
Yeah.
we were sat here waiting for him to arrive.
No.
Yes.
No. You got ghosted by the Osman. Oh.
He forgot.
Did you send him a really angry text, Rob?
No, because
Come on.
you know what, Maisie?
Come on.
No, we're all human, aren't we?
No, I think that's what the industry needs. We need a Rob Brydon, Richard Osman beef. We do. And then, in fact, this is the way it's going, Rob. Now you get celebrities doing boxing matches, don't you?
Oh, I think he'd win.
You could do
I
that.
think of the reach. Come on.
Yeah,
I wouldn't stand a chance unless I tied his shoelaces together and ran around him like a little.
No, yeah, you'd have the nimble approach.
Yeah, but he's got
I think
very
the
big
pay-per-views
arms.
would be massive on Brydon versus Osman.
Now
He's considering it.
Yeah, you're now
He's
making it
considering
sound very appealing.
Yeah.
No, well, that's interesting that he said you were the. Well, he may well be right. He said as well. We're all quoting Richard. He said that he thought that Gavin Stacey special was the last big show that brings everyone together to watch it. He can't see, what's coming down the line that could fill that slot, as it were.
Yeah, I think so as well. Because how long ago was the first episode of Gavin Stacey? It's like
17 years.
Yeah, that's mad. That's mad. So people have grown up with it.
17 years.
But that's
of
a generation who've grown with TV as well.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know if in 17 years people can grow up with that anymore.
We'll be watching it just through our retinas, through our eyelids, won't we?
Yeah. Like a hologram.
And when that happens, we'd be quite right to demand an appraisal.
Oh, it's good.
Of how things have gone. Maisie Adam is touring in the early part of 2025. And that's great news for so many people, but perhaps more than anyone, the people of Aberystwyth, because she is going to Aberystwyth. And Maisie, these shows are getting 5-star reviews, 4-star reviews. That's in comedy. That is how many comedies you see that are either 3 or 2-star when you're in the paper? Because I think critics don't like giving 5 stars.
No.
Let me tell these places that you're going to. I had it on a thing. Here we go. Here it is. Okay, so she's already played all over the place. February. I'm literally going to read them all out.
Oh my God, we'll be here a while.
And I want you to make a sound after each one that signifies how you feel about playing in this place.
Okay.
Isle of Man.
Excited.
Okay, so you're using words.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. Woo!
No, one word to describe, and you're going to run out of superlatives.
Oh, God.
We start on the 1st of February, Isle of Man, excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Dublin.
Nervous.
They're a great audience, Dublin.
Yeah.
You've played there before?
You haven't seen the ticket sales for it.
Oh, does it need...
Dublin needs a push.
Hey, come on, Dublin.
Come on, Dublin.
Come on. Did Bono die in vain? Come on. Belfast.
Intrigued.
Is that a euphemism for needs a push on the tickets?
Yeah, that one does, actually. Yeah.
Bangor.
Fine.
Oh, no. When I said about that, I wasn't saying just box office. I mean, just how you feel about going to that town, regardless of ticket sales.
Delighted.
All right. Aberystwyth.
Buzzing.
That's the 8th of February. Then you go up to Manchester the 9th. Salford, Keys. You're at the Lowry.
Grand.
Yeah, you're sorted
It's
there, aren't
lovely.
you? You're sorted there. Cambridge.
Intellectually stimulated.
Nice. Maidstone.
New.
She's
not been there
struggled to
before.
come up with anything for Maidstone. She doesn't like them.
Sorry.
Milton Keynes.
Old favourite.
Tunbridge Wells.
Interesting.
Canterbury.
Traditional.
Winchester. Posh. Chelmsford.
Easy.
Yeah. Essex. Pamela. Norwich.
Far.
Good though. Nice
Good,
audiences. Cheltenham.
GCHQ.
Stockton-on-Tees.
YI.
Coventry.
Too
late. Aberdeen.
High up. It is
No,
high
you're just
up.
saying where they are.
I have to come up with words very quickly.
Yes, but that's the game. I want
Okay.
words that describe your feelings up towards the place. Too late. Dundee.
Very, very happy.
Good. Whitehaven.
Favourite.
Ilkley.
Home.
I thought you were going to say you wanted more. Hereford.
Where?
The Courtyard. Oh, sorry. You mean
No,
where is Hereford?
Word. That's my word.
Really? Do you know where Hereford is?
Hereford.
It's on the Welsh-English borders.
I have done a gig there before because I had to do a
Memorable.
car share.
Who are the other comics you were car sharing with?
Ola, the comedian.
Yeah.
And a guy who's moved to Amsterdam since Simon. Not Simon Evans. Yeah. Years ago.
Oh, fair enough.
Years ago.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, look, MaisieAdam.com. It's as simple as that.
I was up all night thinking of that domain, Rob.
It's as simple as that. Go and see Maisie. It's been very nice to spend a bit of
It's been a
time with
pleasure.
you.
Thank you, Rob.
And I look forward to you returning to Would I Lie to You?
Yeah,
And if
you.
I'm in Aberystwyth on February the 8th, I'm not. But if I am, or if I'm in Salford on the 9th, or where do you need the tickets?
That
if
one's
I'm
sold
in
out.
Dublin,
Yeah.
if I'm in Dublin on the 4th of February or Belfast on the 5th, I will be there.
I think so. That would be, yeah. So come for Rob Brydon, not me. Yeah.
I'll tell you some things in the interval. Thank you, Maisie. Don't spill the coffee.
I won't. I should have a sort of washing up bowl underneath.
You need a bib.
Need a